Donald Trump Jr., businessman, author, and one of America's most familiar public figures, feels like a different person the moment he's on his Montana ranch. Out here, the pace slows. The mornings arrive gently, with cool air, soft light, and the kind of quiet that lets a man breathe again. This landscape gives him space to think, to work with his hands, and to live without performance. And as the noise of the world falls away, a clearer version of him comes forward, grounded, steady, and focused on building a life that feels genuinely his. Donald Trump Jr. was born on December 31st, 1977, in New York City, in a family where ambition and public attention shaped almost everything around him. When his parents divorced during his teenage years, life slowed in a way he didn't expect. He spent more time with his grandfather in Prague, a quieter rhythm, a different language, and a sense of grounding far from Manhattan's noise. He later moved through the Hill School and the University of Pennsylvania, finishing his degree in economics with the steady confidence of someone who knew he would eventually return to the world he grew up in. But before stepping into it, he chose a detour. Aspen became a small pause, a year of simple work, modest living, and enough distance to understand what kind of life he wanted to build for himself. When he returned to New York, he joined the Trump Organization and settled into the slow, detailed work of development. As executive vice president, he and his brother Eric spent years reviewing plans, walking sites, and guiding projects from early concepts to reality. Not every venture succeeded, but the major developments he oversaw, from Manhattan to Chicago and Scotland, reflected a more deliberate, measured pace than the public image around his family often suggested. Gradually, public life grew around him. A few appearances on The Apprentice placed his name in front of viewers, and from there he moved into a more visible role during the 2016 presidential campaign. His involvement brought both recognition and pressure, and the scrutiny that followed marked a complicated stretch of his career. Through it, he continued balancing political expectations with the day-to-day responsibility of keeping the family business moving. In the years after, his work shifted between managing partnerships, handling brand matters, and becoming a familiar voice on conservative platforms. His presence in rallies, interviews, and conferences grew steadily, shaped more by tone and conviction than by title. At the same time, he built a speaking career, supported charitable work, and released Triggered in 2019, which added another layer to the public roles he now carries. With time, Trump Jr. leaned further into media engagement, podcasts, online shows, and commentary circuits where he could speak freely and build an audience separate from the corporate world he grew up in. That shift opened new lanes of influence, partnerships tied to outdoor lifestyle brands, advocacy groups, and political networks that saw value in his visibility. Behind the scenes, he continued advising on selective real estate projects, navigating a business landscape that had become more complex after years of public attention. He built his path slowly, choosing intention over speed. With time, that approach shaped not only his work, but the way he retreats from it. And the place that holds that quieter rhythm sits in Montana, a peaceful ranch waiting in the next chapter. Ranch in Montana. The ranch doesn't spring up suddenly. It unfolds like a Montana morning, slowly, steadily, with more silence than sound. Nearly 60 acres of land spread across the Flathead Valley, from 20 acres of hay meadows to 20 acres of old-growth forest to fenced pastures in long, gently sloping rows. At the end of a paved driveway lit by electric wired lampposts, the log-style house blends into the landscape as if carved from the valley itself. Donald Trump Jr. reportedly bought the preserve for close to $30 million, and the property carries that weight not in luxury but in sheer presence. The main house, 14,228 square feet of wood, stone, and glass, sits quietly at the center. Inside, the foyer opens with the quiet of a log home built to capture winter light. Thick beams rise above stone floors, and air moves gently from window to window. Nothing rushes, nothing bustles. The house seems to know the land around it and keep its voice low. The living room opens with a long, unbroken breath. The vaulted ceiling soars 27 feet high. A large stone fireplace anchors the left wall, and a climbing wall stretches the eye upward like a pleasant interruption. Tall windows look out onto meadows, ponds, and delicate trees beyond. Even with its scale, the room feels gentle, almost wary, not wanting to disrupt the quiet outside. A bend into the sunroom brings a change of tone. The floor beneath you, petrified stone, carves a cool, earthy feel, and hand-painted ceiling murals soften the space with color. Glass walls open out toward the trout pond, where the water reflects the sky in slow, steady ripples. The kitchen and dining room are even quieter. Marble floors catch the afternoon sun, and long tables are not for grand statements, but for meals that last for hours. The deeper you go into the house, the narrower, gentler it gets. The bedrooms open onto small terraces and balconies, each with a slice of the mountains. The master bedroom is at its best in the morning. The first light filters through the glass, spills across the floor, touches the stone, and disappears into view behind the railing. Here, waking up feels more like being immersed in the natural landscape than welcoming the new day. Inside, the house is turned inward. A private theater sits behind soundproof walls. A 2,900-bottle wine cellar sits quietly under the floor. A Finnish sauna sits near the wellness rooms. The elevator moves between floors almost silently. Smart lighting and a house-wide sound system gently hum in the background, never intrusive. Space doesn't stop at the main house. It spills out into smaller spaces where life is more subdued. Nearby, a guest house sits in the same light as the lodge, its windows soft in the evenings. Further down the road, another small house keeps its own rhythm, steady, functional, the kind of place built for those who understand the movements of the land. Near the edge of the woods, two small cabins wait quietly, their porches catching the last colors of dusk. As night falls, they glow faintly, like lanterns spaced just far enough apart to feel lonely, but never out of place. Further down, a tiny, fairy tale-looking house nestles behind a clump of pines with a quaintness that makes you slow down to appreciate it. And tucked away even further, around a bend where meadows give way to shade, is a farmhouse made for longer stays. Simple, leisurely, a place where mornings are worth having and nights seem endless. The working heart of the farm beats its own way. A 4-stall, 4,200-square-foot horse barn sits next to open pastures, its wood exterior softened by the sun and weather. A greenhouse warms winter mornings. A chicken coop sits at the edge of the woods. Behind the main buildings, a heated power plant and barns hum quietly, their wood sidings blending into the earth. Trails wind and loop back to the pond, where a fire pit warms chilly nights. The paved courtyards between the cottages and the terrace behind the main house feel more like natural spaces between the earth and sky than structures. Shades shift across them as the day wears on, and the wind carries the scent of pine through the cracks. As night settles over the ranch and the last light slips off the pond, the place falls into a calm that feels almost unreal. But behind that quiet beauty is another side of his life, one shaped by power and motion. And now, we invite you to join us as we explore his car collection. Car collection. First is the BMW X7, the $100,000 SUV that slips quietly into Donald Trump Jr.'s busy mornings. It's the car he climbs into when he's still finishing his first coffee, the sun barely up, and the day already waiting for him. The cabin feels warm and familiar, soft leather, a bit of cool air, and just enough quiet to let him settle his thoughts. The X7 doesn't ask for attention. It simply gives him a calm start before the noise kicks in. Next comes the Cadillac Escalade, about $110,000, and this one shows up with a different mood entirely. Tall, sharp, unmistakable. The Escalade looks like it knows people are watching. On days when he walks into crowds, flashes, press lines, this is usually the SUV he steps out of. Inside, it feels steady and protective, almost like the car holds a small barrier between him and whatever waits outside. It's the kind of space where he can take one last breath before stepping into the spotlight. Then again, there's the Chevrolet Suburban, close to $80,000, the simplest and most down-to-earth vehicle in the lineup. Under the hood is a 5.3-liter V8 with about 355 horsepower. Nothing loud, nothing flashy, just the kind of steady power that handles long days without complaint. Inside, the cabin feels honest. Huge cargo space, durable seats, and the sense that nothing is too delicate to touch. It's the car he uses when the only thing that matters is getting from one place to the next, not how he looks doing it. Finally, the Mercedes-Benz S-Class, well over $120,000, brings a softer pace. This isn't a car he rushes in. It's the one he sinks into at the end of the day. The doors close with a quiet thud, the cabin goes dim, and suddenly everything feels slower. Pale leather, soft lighting, a hush that makes the world fade just a little. He keeps the S-Class for quiet dinners, low-key meetings, or nights when he just wants comfort over anything else. Here, he's not bracing for anything. He's unwinding. What a mix of cars he uses, each one matching a different moment in his day, from busy mornings to quiet nights. You can almost see his routine through them. With that picture clear enough, we move to the part that explains the life behind it all: his income and net worth. Income and net worth. Donald Trump Jr. stands on a sweeping $1 billion net worth, a level of wealth that elevates him into the top tier of America's most powerful political heirs. It is a billion-dollar fortune engineered over decades, built through business, media reach, and a steadily expanding real estate footprint. His 2 decades as executive vice president of the Trump Organization earned him about $35 million in salary and bonuses. Meaningful, but only a small fraction of the financial empire he now commands. The true weight of his wealth comes from the global Trump projects he has shaped, the high-value licensing deals he has pushed across continents, and the sizable assets he has accumulated while operating inside the inner circle of one of America's most influential business families. One of his clearest personal holdings is the 7.5% stake in the Trump International Hotel in Washington, D.C., a slice that can reach $40 million depending on the valuation cycle. But the biggest checks he has earned come from Trump-branded ventures abroad, the licensing projects in Vancouver, Manila, Pune, and other fast-growing markets. These deals, built around the Trump name rather than property ownership, have collectively delivered up to $120 million to him through design fees, milestone payments, launch event compensation, and long-term brand licensing. Media visibility added another strong layer. His long tenure on The Apprentice generated an estimated $20 million, and when combined with book sales, political commentary, and speaking engagements, his public presence has produced an additional $35 million, especially in election seasons when demand for his voice surges. Real estate remains both a lifestyle and financial pillar. His portfolio includes a nearly 6,000-square-foot Manhattan apartment valued at $10 million, a 170-acre hunting preserve in upstate New York worth about $5 million, and the Bridgehampton mansion he once bought for $4.5 million and later sold for $8.14 million. In the West, he owns a 60-acre Montana ranch, a secluded, high-value property estimated at $30 million, easily the crown jewel of his land holdings. And in Florida, the Jupiter estate he acquired in 2021 now carries a valuation near $14 million. When combined, these assets create a real estate portfolio comfortably exceeding $55 million, underscoring just how heavily property anchors his personal wealth. Behind the scenes, private investments, lifestyle brands, and equity partnerships form another major tier of his wealth. Although details remain largely undisclosed, Industry estimates suggest his combined stakes in these ventures could reach $150 million, reflecting the kind of quiet financial machinery typical of high-level business families. His influence comes from years of major decisions and high-profile projects, but that's only part of the picture. The real turning point, and the focus of the next section, is how he uses that position to support others through his philanthropy. Philanthropy. Donald Trump Jr.'s charitable work rarely sits at the center of public attention, yet when you slow down and look at the details, a quieter rhythm emerges, one shaped by steady contributions and long-running family traditions. Much of that giving flows through the Donald J. Trump Foundation, where Trump Jr. served on the board during the years it distributed more than $14 million to hospitals, community programs, and veteran organizations. About $5.4 million of that came from the Trump family, while another $9.3 million came from outside donors who shared the foundation's causes. Some of the foundation's most significant gifts went straight to institutions that feel the impact immediately. $2,500,000 to United Way of New York City for youth initiatives, $600,000 to the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute for cancer research, and a steady line of smaller grants, often in the tens of thousands, supporting veterans associations, police groups, and children's hospitals. These weren't headline-chasing contributions, but consistent support that helped programs stay open, staffed, and stable. Trump Jr. also lent his time to the Opening Day Foundation, a conservation nonprofit built around outdoor fundraising experiences. Donations ranged from $250,000 up to $1 million, with the highest tier fueling wildlife restoration and youth outdoor education efforts. The approach sparked debate, but for many conservation groups, the funding arrived at moments when budgets were tight and field programs were at risk. When the Trump Foundation eventually closed, a New York court ordered a final $2 million to be distributed to several nonprofit organizations. Money that strengthened children's health services, mental health programs, and veteran support networks. For the groups involved, it meant new equipment, expanded treatment capacity, and resources that had long been out of reach. Outside the family foundation, Trump Jr. has appeared in more focused, community-level efforts. Through charity events benefiting St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, his participation helped raise up to $500,000 for families facing overwhelming medical costs. He has also supported police benevolent associations, contributing to grants and fundraising efforts that reached as high as $150,000, bolstering safety gear and outreach programs. And through veteran-focused galas and public charity appearances, his involvement has generated up to $250,000 for organizations offering counseling, transitional housing, and career support to former service members. These donations sketch a softer outline around his public image, one built on consistency rather than drama. From here, we move into his private world in Montana, where the noise falls away and the small, everyday moments become the real markers of his life. Personal life. Donald Trump Jr.'s life was most natural on his family's ranch in Montana. Mornings there began in a way New York never could. Thin light on the hills, a cold wind cutting through the silence, and the steady crunch of gravel underfoot. During his children's school breaks, he often took them out for long runs, letting them replace curtains with bare ground. At the ranch, the rules changed. Days were measured by weather, fishing lines, and the speed at which the sun set behind the mountains. It was here that he became a version of himself rarely seen in public. Free, carefree, unguarded. He cooked over an open fire, rode his bicycle down dirt roads with the children in the back seat, and taught them the slow rituals he grew up with: tying bait, gutting fish, reading the wind on a cold morning. The photos tell the story better than any words: smoke billowing from the grill, kids laughing in their oversized jackets, his hand on his shoulder, oblivious to the camera. Family has always been the foundation of his life. His marriage to Vanessa Hayden Trump lasted from 2005 to 2018, a chapter that included 5 children and years of building a routine around school pickups, sporting events, and the daily grind of raising a large family. Their marriage ended quietly compared to most political divorces, and what remains now is a steady, rhythmic co-parenting rhythm. The children are at the center of that arrangement, and their milestones, birthdays, holidays, hockey nights, still put both parents in the same frame, focused entirely on them. Since 2018, Trump Jr. was in a relationship with news anchor Kimberly Guilfoyle. Their lives alternated between public appearances and quiet private moments. She appeared in snapshots from vacations, holiday gatherings, and family weekends, sometimes dressed up for an event, sometimes simply sitting with her children on a porch swing. Their relationship existed in both worlds, the elegant stages they stood on professionally, and the quieter spaces where the family gathered together without being noticed. What anchored everything was his strong attraction to nature. Fishing was a daily affair. Hunting trips remained a tradition. Golf days with the kids combined friendly competition with practical lessons, patience, focus, and the value of slowing down. Whether in the water or the woods, he seems to have lost the sharp edges that politics can create. He looks more like a boy who once found balance in nature than the man who makes headlines today. And perhaps that contrast is most evident in his private world. Public life demands a fast, loud pace. Private life demands something slower, more grounded. Montana gives him that. So do his children. In every ranch photo, every boat trip, every birthday cake filled with 5 young faces, there is a glimmer of hope, an attempt to hold on to a moment of truth in a world that often lacks it. If you enjoyed this warm, everyday look into Donald Trump Jr.'s private world, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments which public figure you'd like to see next. We'll see you again in the next video.